Hanging from a thread till you dead, cause your partner put a price on your head. Cause your chick was laying up in his bed. She getting details, spilling every word that you said. She working retail, thirsty bitch just trying to get ahead. If history tell us anything, y'all both end up dead. It's just a street tale, a fable, some shit someone said. Sit at the table and hope there's more to offer than bread. Pulled out the cradle, first steps you getting chased by a fed. No head starts, just body parts and lead sparks. Old religion, brand new hate and weak hearts. Oligarchs, krakens, dragons, you see sharks. Imagine you could manage to maneuver the deep part. You a savage, you can have it, just show all your teeth sharp. If you could grab it, you could stab it, just aim for the bleeding heart. The ones that show compassion, a soldier that seeks art. Does the artist that wage war take over or take part? Taking a knee, thinking no one faithful is me. I'm good people in bad lands, no evil live within me. I mind mine, I survive, find this lands for the free. If I'm mistaken, I'm forsaken, no one rescuing me. Residual effects, stray bullets through familiar necks. For any number of infractions that I deem disrespect. Your beliefs, you deserve better, but we both in the shit. You just haven't come to grips with it yet. Fight or flight, and they ain't really nowhere to go. If your back is against the wall and you ain't throwing no blows, you gon' crumble in the rubble, become blood in the snow. If you a victim, they collect them, grab the body and go. Dig them and ditch them, total disregard for the soul. Gas them and lit them, watch the flesh burn in the glow. Where we live and catch a shivering, it's a hell you don't know. Your best hope is that your dying ain't slow, or your dying's a show. Where we at, it's every man for his own. A bloody backdrop, where killers just zone and slice flesh to the bone. Masked and gloved up front of your home. A flash of gun, but the side of your dome. Fresh blood from a stone, dents in your sense. Kick your fucking ball through the fence, dare you to say something. No sense in sitting around in suspense. Find out what's next, open your fucking mouth, disrespect. See the extent of how my life is intense. She beautiful and oppressed in a permanent summer dress. She a servant and still she blessed. Children cradled against her breast, whispering prayers, wishing their souls the best, knowing that they forgotten, not forgetting they're blessed. The bloodiest red lights, just piles of dead life. Something must be broken, the glyphs wasn't read right. You think them Bible papers will shed light? Yeah, right. Burn after reading, tell the preacher I'm leaving. What is poppin', people? Welcome back. Salutes to everybody in attendance. All right, salutes to everybody that's checking in that wasn't in the last stream. Appreciate y'all popping up. Also got this thing in danger though, because that fool's not in the chat. Should have been the first one in the chat. All that shit he was talking a little while ago. All of that shit he was talking a little while ago. Should have been numero uno over there, but lo cago. Right? Lo cago. Alright? Lo cago. Alright, shout out Shannon, Zoraida, 298 on the check-in. He driving. We appreciate you. We see you, sir. Safe travels. JP, shot my hickey. That's no way to treat an OG ranch holder. What? When I said that fucking old soul ain't in here, is he? But he wasn't in here, was he? Still not in here, right? Talking a lot. He talking a lot of shit today, right? Talking a lot of shit today. Shout out 323G on the check-in. Salutes. Ricky Bobby, back for the 2.0. Salute, safe travels. Was wondering why I was getting looks in Walmart. Mine's so space. You better get your shit together, Ricky Bobby. All right? It's time to, all right, you got it off. It's time to, you know, line yourself up and chill out. All right? Gotta relax. All right? Cover it up. Don't leave the shit out on the hip. You know? Don't drink too much. All of that good shit we could tell you. Jonathan back at it once Oso shows up. Ricky Bobby, that hammer will have all kinds of looks and unattended attention your way, unfortunately. Yeah, Ricky Bobby, Tranquilízate. Okay? That's a good word for you right now. Shout out Primo on the check-in. Salutes. Alright, for those that weren't in the live earlier, make sure y'all replay gang that and hit that like button. We did work over there, and I put belt to ass. Alright? I put belt to ass, belt to hyena ass around here. Because they yelled at me about some shit that was a witch trial. Salutes Velez or the check-in. Also, you're a disgrace to the L Avengers. And you know what I'm going to do, y'all? Just because he played himself. And I should outlaw people. So I think I'm outlawing 298 from this round. Shout out to Keno on the check-in. Long time no see. Salutes. I'm going to... It's open. Bar's open, right? Spin the wheel's open. 13 through Super Chat. $10 through Power Chat, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. I think 298, you're disqualified. You've already admitted that you're driving. So I'd rather you not play the game until you're not driving. And, you know. But also, I hope he misses this one right here. For gassing up this stream. And being gone. But salutes to the rest of y'all that's here. We got a whole nother audience. Again, YouTube don't continue to push the stream after 3-4 hours. So we're going to have to start cutting them off if we're going to go any longer than that. So I'll split that pie on the check-in. Where was he? He's up here somewhere. 223G. Split that pie. JP. Wally World, wrong place. That'll get you lots of staring. 9 likes, 13 watching. Step your game up, knucklehead. Salutes. I was doing the center before going in the store. Not today. XP count is factual today. We figured that out though. It's super chats. Super chats blow you through the roof. Make you pretty much uncatchable sometimes. Salutes. Ricky Bobby, well, you can't play the game either. Nobody that admits to their driving. Primo, well, you guys don't play the game anyway. You shouldn't be allowed in my chat while you're driving. Don't be in here admitting you driving to me, motherfuckers. Alright? But also, it's the failure of a lifetime. If he misses this wheel, before I get into this Karen Reed case that people were telling me to get into that I didn't get into because I can't get into things all the time at that opportune moment. Especially where there's still things up in the air. Shout out, split that pie, hit that like button. I agree. Alright, let's see. Boom. Alright, JP don't want to admit to his tappage. But that's okay. I'll let him hold that. But also, he's not tapping. I'm breaking his arm. Voice to text through my truck, hands free. Okay, cool. Then we could blame for the voice to text for all the shit you keep copping to in the chat. Slow down. No self-snitching. I don't do the wheel because I care for your health. Salutes to you. I appreciate you. JP cared for my health so much today, he got me 2 waters. You're one of them right here. Alright. The wheel is a way for me to enjoy a drink and do hood rat stuff with my friends.
I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
And make a couple of dollars on a channel that don't generate much. Salutes. Ricky said, I'm legal. No, I know. But you just illegalized yourself walking around Walmart with your dick hanging out, all right? Pause. Right. To your voice to text that can spell my name. Voice to text strong as hell, so that took care of your shit. Humans be fucking that one up. Sorry, no, I got mad love for Upper Echelon, but he's the L of the Ill Avengers. I don't know. Well, you gotta give me your argument. Why? Oso right now, Oso is in contempt of motherfucking Il Cartel Assembly right now. He is in contempt. Alright? He is in contempt. There you go. 34, too old to lose your freedom again. That's the right mentality to have right there. Alright? Don't be like Oso, though. Where I think I might put him in the fucking.
Put him in the fucking bedroom, right?
He might end up in the bathroom. Now, what was it, y'all? Did a deer walk up, take his phone, and run off with it? What was the thing? What will be his Tito Ortiz excuse for missing this 15th week?
Old Soul sent $30 on YouTube. Spin that shit.
Okay. He want the spins. He want 3 spins. Okay. Right. He was almost late, motherfucker. Should have been the first one in the chat. Okay. First one after the debacle that you pulled over there. Oh, can't access this. It's deleted. What are you doing? Are you deleting the shit? I don't know what's happening here. Thumbs up. Checking in Seduce. Shout out Vernon Himes. All right, we're going to spin this fucking wheel before I put this motherfucker in the
Put him in the
bathroom.
fucking bedroom, right?
I don't like that he come in talking about spinning that shit. All stone cold and shit. You know what I mean? Well, motherfucker, you were late, man. All right? I'm here doing too much. I can't manda. I did my job. I did a 5-hour stream. I was done. I mean, now you brought me back. All right. I don't think you get a choice. I mean, do you? I'll give you a fucking choice. What do you want? What do you want of these? You want to shuffle? You want to spin? What do you want to do? And give me the number and hurry up, man. I don't got no more patience for you today. Look, I got to. All right. I have my autocorrect set up, most commonly used words, so I click it and autocorrect fixes your name. Bow. See, there you go. Everything is doable. We spinning or we shooting? I'm here for the BS. No, you causing the BS. Sorry, upper echelon comes with too many first drafts. As for lies, when we are clearly done with lies and all kinds of fuckery. All right, here we go. These motherfuckers. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get it. Bone rip. Okay. Bone rip. Boom. Same thing with the spins. Let's go. Keep it thorough, or I'm gonna decide for you. Miss me with you got a delay. The earth is round, and then you gotta. By the time the signal gets to where I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. 5 more and keep going. What are we doing? 5 every one. What are we doing? Hold on, Zoda. You gotta relax. Once it's a single gorilla, just one. What are you doing? Spin. Let's get it from right there. Boom. Go. Oh, so hit him in the head. Headshot. He gone. He gone. Don't go. Oh. Don't go.
No mommy's wait.
You guys can't even buy me a beer. The fuck? All right, what are we doing? Spinning? You got to skip a turn right there, my friend. What are we doing? We spinning or we shuffling? What are we doing? Huh? The boy done got himself 1,575 experience points. So see Jonathan? Zoda try to get me right there. Throw that other gorilla on there, motherfucker. Damn, no bueno. No bueno, man. I mean, you got you a gorilla. That's it. Just spin. All right, we just spinning. Here we go. I'm going to give you, what I'm going to give you right here?
Now you see now, you done fucked up. You know that, don't you?
You know that, don't you? Oh, and he got himself a double shot. Nobody could even buy me a beer. Man, fucking double shot. All right, there it is. All right, wheel is closed to further fucking notice. We're gonna get into this case. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. I guess he would consider that a W. I don't know. Should have just rolled right into the water. Stop there.
JP just did a double up right there. Shy, see the OG ranch holder, the El Avengers, Mahiga also está presente. Oh, where's the newest New Jersey gang unit leader? Is that where it was from? Jersey? Hey, Shy, did you cover the Diddy verdict at all? Primo, no mama's way. Okay. Are you gonna catch the replay if I did? Huh? Because I did. 5 hours before this one. This is my second stream of the day. El Tubo didn't give you the notification? Huh? So we got a gorilla and a double shot. Motherfuckers. No mama's way.
No mommy's way.
Replay gang, Primo. I was over there talking my shit, man. We did 4.5 hours on that shit. Or 5 hours. But don't go now. Now we covering this Karen Reed. Yeah, I will dick. What? Relax. Hey, yo. Chill out. I just been busy at work. Didn't know. My bad. Damn. Yeah, you shit the bed, bro, twice. Shy, I so wish we were able to drop gifts, my nigga. Yeah, that would help. But El Tubo, you know, they're not on that shit right now. That would help me understand things better. Hamza the Snake. Hey, Shy, do a full episode on Cheeto Anthrax with the twins. There's not enough information there. What they're going to talk about? The fantasy shit that the people want to know? And we've talked about it here. Have you gone through the playlist? Go through the playlist. All right, you need the links. Flores Twin exclusive interviews. They'll give their thoughts on the chinos and all of that. But that ain't a full episode. Shannon Primo, I'm part of the replay gang. Salutes. You tweaked, Primo. You need to clip you getting water and replay it when there's a spin to see how long it takes to notice. Huh? You need to reclip you getting to see how long it takes them to notice. My name is worth more than being funny with y'all. Salutes. What do you mean, like rig the wheel so I screenshot, what is it? Or a video of the water and replay it when there's a spin to see how long it takes them to notice. Nah. Oh, I'm not fucking around like that. Motherfuckers are spending their money over here. But you already know that. Gone through it all. Papa seemed to have a little different for Chino seemed to have lived a little life different for a pistolero. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do an episode on him, you know, but I don't know if I'll do one with the twins. What they got to say about it anymore than what they said already. But we'll see. Maybe. It's quite possible. Right? Let's get into this here. Let me go get my drink. I don't know nothing about this story except what the spoilers gave me in the chat. All right? Otherwise, I know nothing about this story. So I'm going back to the oldest video. Got 1.4 million views. It's from that chapter. Shout out to them. I'll drop their channel link in the chat. They did this a year ago, so I'm hoping. Let me see. When was her case though? Karen Reed crime date. So this shit about a year old, right? February 2025. Doesn't give me a date. There you go. Vehicle outside. January 29, 2022. Okay. And when did the trial just happened, right? Okay, so the trial recently happened. All right, boom. So I'll go with this. Let me see. Can I find anything further? Let me see. Fuck it, we're gonna go with the year ago.
And welcome. My name is... Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this solo video, we are...
16 people, 15 likes. Yeah, get that together. Salutes. Ricky Bobby, the thing is, we need my Higashai organs fresh and healthy. Although it would be hilarious to see how long it took people to catch on. Nah, no fuckery, no scamming jokes, none of that shit. Shit ain't funny. Never mind, switched up right after I typed that. Yeah, salutes. Her second trial. Wait, what? Somebody's guilty conscience may have kicked in. Whose? Not mine. I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all talk about that.
Heading off to Boston, where in the wee hours of January the 29th, 2022, a then 42-year-old woman named Karen Reed found her boyfriend John O'Keefe's body laying on a snowbank with no idea of how he got there. Or did she? This is a big old dun 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 video because just hours after his body was found, she would find herself with bracelets around her wrists. Adding to the intrigue is John O'Keefe being an active Boston PD officer at the time of his death. Now, the thing about this case is usually when, someone is accused of murder and they're like, I'm being framed, it's a setup! It's pretty sensible to just take those ravings and be like, yeah, sure you are. Right, yeah, the good old framing job. Except
Sorry, I said, was she a cop? And then I saw he was a cop. And I said, hold the fucking phone.
42-year-old woman named Karen Reed found her boyfriend John O'Keefe's body laying on a snowbank with no idea of how he got there. Or did she? This is a big old dun 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 video because just hours after his...
Are we putting... Oso's gonna make me put a timer on him on the chat. I don't give a fuck if you're asando a pig. I don't give a fuck if you're picando a deer. Man, vale madre, alright? Your business is to make sure you check into that chat like every 5, 7, 9 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Shannon. First trial ended in a hung jury. Second trial ended with her not guilty. Alright, let's get it.
Body was found, she would find herself with bracelets around her wrists. Adding to the intrigue is John O'Keefe being no idea of how he got
Shannon, thank you for the spoiler. Yeah, I should have warned against that one.
there. Or did she? This is a big
But
old
this shit's in the news, I heard.
dun 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 video because just hours after his body was found, she would find herself with bracelets around her wrists. Adding to the intrigue is John O'Keefe being an active Boston PD officer at the time of his death. Now, the thing about this case is usually when, someone is accused of murder and they're like, I'm being framed, it's a setup! It's pretty sensible to just take those ravings and be like, yeah, sure you are. Right, yeah, the good old framing job. Except in this one, it's a little bit different. There could be some fire behind the smoke in this whole video, so you know what? Let's give it a go. So to Boston we go, or rather Canton in Norfolk County to be exact, just south of the city. Fun fact, Canton is actually the home of the headquarters of Dunkin' Donuts because Boston, it runs on Dunkin'. So, Karen Reed. 43-year-old Karen was a finance lecturer at Bentley University in Massachusetts, which is the same university she attended as a student, and also an equity analyst at Fidelity. Trying to figure out what an equity analyst actually does for a living. I gave it a bit of a go, but it's really, really boring. But you know what? It pays like over 100 grand a year, so I'll take the boring, sure. Long story short, our Karen, who I'm not short of a few bob or two, was dating. She was seeing 46-year-old John O'Keefe, Officer John O'Keefe. They'd been together for about 2 years by the time our story takes place in January 2022. This story is still ongoing, so details are a little bit sketchy. Basically, like in everything, right? You have two sides to the story. You have the prosecution and you have the defense. Both very plausible. But what no one disputes is the setup to this case, which is that on the night in question, January 28th, Karen Reed and John O'Keefe were out with friends and had visited the Waterfall Bar in downtown Canton before heading for drinks at the house of an acquaintance of John's. But they didn't really know each other that well. This after party was at 34 Fairview Road. That was the home of Brian Albert, fellow Boston cop and star of Boston's Finest.
Myrna's chosen the head of the fugitive unit, Brian Albert, to help plan the operation.
What do you anticipate we should have per?
For the houses, for the body warrants, you're gonna want at least, 6 to 8 cops.
Well, look at you. They were obviously both Brian Albert and John O'Keefe were both cops. John O'Keefe met Brian Albert that night through a woman named Jennifer McCabe. Jennifer was a longtime friend of John's, but was also Brian Albert's sister-in-law. Brian was married to a woman named Nicole. Jennifer, Nicole's sister. So that's how they all knew each other. Anyways, they weren't exactly tight, but Brian Albert being a cop, John O'Keefe being a cop, they're one of them. So out that night was John, Karen, Brian, his wife Nicole, and Jennifer and her husband Matthew, having a good time at the bar.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
After the bar closed, well, after party time. Plan was, the gang of them, they'd go back to Brian's house, have a few drinks there, and this was just...
Here we go. With the gorilla.
After midnight. What happens next then depends kind of like on which side of the argument you come down on. And it all hinges on whether John O'Keefe walked through the door of Brian Albert's home. Some people say he did, some people say he didn't. Because hours later at 6 a.m, John O'Keefe's body was found on the snowbank outside Brian Albert's home.
Officer John O'Keefe, who was off duty, was found dead on...
Wait, so this shit didn't even happen at his crib? Shout out J-Fam. Salute J-Fam on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Shout out, when I said guilty conscience, I meant someone watching may have clicked like. As for Karen, I don't know what the... Okay, also you promised to be active. No, also lo cagó. Cagó el gallo.
Yo vivo tranquila con la penetration.
I don't know how much about the case. Didn't follow very closely. Salute J-Fam. I had to pay that. I owed that. It was part of my condena. Right now, we're going to get this Olympic size double. Alright? Regulation size. Hold on, but let me see this.
Fairview a.m. John O'Keefe's walked side of the argument you come down on. And it all... They're one of them. So out that night was John, Karen, Brian, his wife Nicole, and Jennifer and her husband Matthew, having a good time at the bar. After the bar closed, well, after party time. Plan was, the gang of them, they'd go back to Brian's house, have a few drinks there, and this was just after midnight. What happens next then depends kind of like on which side of the argument you come down on. And it all hinges on whether...
How do you know you actually hit? I mean, you want me to prove it to you and put the channel at risk? I could do that. Is it worth it? I'd rather just take it off the thing. If you're not going to believe me, you're not going to trust me, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? But what will make you think that that's my character from the little bit of time that you've been here? Don't speak for the people playing the game if you're not playing the game. Right? What makes you think that's part of my character? When I got hit for double shots for a long time. Here's one right here. I fuck around and blow the smoke in the thing. You know what I mean? In the camera. So it's either just your character or you're putting it on my character. I thought it was your fuck your feeling Friday. My bad, carry on. Yeah. It might be motherfucking put him in the fucking bathroom Wednesday.
Put him in the fucking bedroom.
Who knows? Anything can happen. Alright? Oso's gutting a fucking deer right now. Not worried about a thing. And I've cumplido my condena. Bow, bow. Boom. There it is. Put a check mark on it. And everybody back the fuck up. Right? I want everybody in this boat to calm the fuck down. Your boy got this. Okay? Don't put no fucking smut on my name. Shout out J-Fam. What other items make that sound? Primo could figure out a few. Alright? Salutes. Let's get it.
There, John O'Keefe walked through the door of Brian Albert's home. Some people say he did. Some people say he didn't. Because hours later, at 6 a.m., John O'Keefe's body was found on the snowbank outside Brian Albert's home.
Officer John O'Keefe, who was off duty.
Primo says, see, that's why I don't like you on the wheel. Why? Because I tell the truth? Like, I don't be understanding you motherfuckers, man.
Was found dead on Fairview Road yesterday morning.
Hold on, now. This is the part I'm trying to get to. You keep distracting me with your bullshit.
O'Keefe's body was found on the snowbank.
They left the bar. The argument is, did he end up in dude's crib or not?
His wife Nicole and Jennifer and her husband Matthew having a good time at the bar. After the bar closed, well, after party time. Plan was, the gang of them, they'd go back to Brian's house, have a few drinks there, and this was just after midnight. What happens next then depends kind of like on which side of the argument you come down on. And it all hinges on whether John O'Keefe walked through the door of Brian Albert's home. Some people say he did, some people say he didn't. Because hours later, at 6 a.m., John O'Keefe's body was found on the snowbank outside Brian Albert's home.
Officer John O'Keefe, who was off duty, was found dead on Fairview Road yesterday morning in front of a friend's house. State police were at the scene last night investigating this. At this point, it's not clear how he died. An autopsy is set for tomorrow. O'Keefe was a 16-year veteran of the Boston Police Department. The department released a statement on the death of Officer O'Keefe, which reads in part, John will be greatly missed by his friends and colleagues here at the Boston Police Department as we send our heartfelt condolences to his family and loved ones during this difficult time.
Karen, she'd been out that night. She was going to drop her fella John off at the house and head back herself. She swears she saw him walk through the front door of Brian Albert's home. However, Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert swear he never entered the house. They had been calling and texting him to no response. Hours later then, Karen, she was looking for him. She went back. His body was found. He was dead, blunt force injury, traumatic injury. Now let's get into the two sides of this twisted story. Let's start with what the state claims. The state's narrative goes like this. Karen and John argued after a night out drinking, and when he got out of the car to go into a party at a fellow officer's house, Karen, she lost it. She reversed her SUV, hitting John O'Keefe, killing him, striking him into the snowbank. His body then lay there until it was found hours later. They also allege she was drunk at the time, which she denies.
Almost anything is possible these days. But that goes for...
Two Canton police officers, Saraf and Mulaney, they arrived at the address just after 6 a.m. And there they found 3 women. Apparently when the officers arrived, 2 of the women were trying to give John O'Keefe CPR to no avail. The police found him cold to the touch and not breathing. Karen now was originally charged with manslaughter, that she'd hit him with the car and killed him maybe in an accident or in a drunken rage or something like that. Something which she might have actually believed at the time, but we'll get back to that.
Karen Reed pleaded not guilty on charges connected to his death. During a court appearance, prosecutors say the couple had been out drinking the night before, saying when Reed found her boyfriend in the snow the following day, she questioned whether she'd hit him with her car.
The charges were then upped 4 months later to the murder charges she faces today. She was arraigned, where she entered a plea of not guilty. Now, the most damning evidence for the prosecution is Karen's own words. That night, after she had dropped John off, she went home, hadn't heard from him, was going back. She was on the phone to Jennifer McCabe and she was saying, Something like, I could have hit him. Maybe I hit him. Karen claimed she was in shock at the time and she was just trying to work out what could have happened to John. Also, when she arrived back at the house, Karen was the first person to find his body, which, you know, they say, oh, well, you must have already known where he was because nobody else could find him. She described the moment of finding him, that John's eyes were swollen shut and blood was coming out of his nose. Not only did she raise the question of hitting John with the car, but apparently when officers arrived, she repeatedly said to the paramedics at the scene, I hit him. I hit him. Once again, Karen's lawyers have said, you know, that was just her trying to rationalize what could have actually happened to her boyfriend of 2 years, but it's not exactly a good look to admit at the scene of the crime. To the thing you're now accused of doing. The prosecution have also entered into evidence chunks of the taillight from Karen's SUV, which they say, you know, broke when she hit John O'Keefe. Now, the defense, however, have asked for that evidence to examine it themselves, but they haven't gotten it. It's another polarizing piece of evidence, with anyone in favor of the prosecution's argument saying it's evidence that Karen backed into John, right? It's an open and shut case. You know, she was going to drop him off, drunk, fighting, she hit him, she drove off, maybe she forgot, she went back looking for him, she found him. But the defense say it's kind of implausible that she could have actually hit him outside the house. Well, first of all, it was like a 3-point turn she was doing. The broken taillight on Karen's car was on the right side. But if she was doing a 3-point turn and she hit John, she should have broken the left taillight. Second of all, the speed she would have had to have been going at to kill him wouldn't have been possible. Then there's those injuries again. Karen said John's eyes were swollen shut and his nose bloodied, which doesn't sound too much like someone who'd been backed into. In fact, in order to inflict those injuries, or even anything close, the car would have had to have been going quite fast, which doesn't make sense in the situation that it was in and the condition.
So what? She was blacked out or something? Like, I'm not understanding. Hold on. Shout out HD. Damn, you guys still live? We went at it again, man, for a missing Avenger. That's to hold them L's. All right. Also number 1 on the XP again. It's that super chat. Shout out HG 2.0. We are 2.0 right now.
And all that. There's also a whole bunch of conflicts of interest in this case. The officer who filed the initial charges against Karen Reed, an officer, a Trooper Proctor, is his name. He's a close family friend of Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe's. He's also the one responsible for discovering Karen's SUV having a broken taillight and then having it towed away. So that begins the questions being raised as to what actually happened. First of all, the circumstances make it unclear how she could have killed him, even though that was her own first thought. And then secondly, the people investigating this case are close friends with the other people at the scene. So therefore, it would make sense to not draw the light on them. Because that's the other side of the argument. It's not hard to see why so many questions are being raised, and why so many people see the evidence and the prosecution's case as a whole as being so...
So the story goes, I might have to do this shit again, because I didn't really get much out of that. Shout out J-Fam. She was on them drogas. So they go, they party at the bar, they lit, they go to the next dude's crib. She's fucked up. She don't want to get out the whip. She says he got out the car and went in the crib. But the theory is that he got out the whip to go in the crib. She reversed on him and then broke out. And then she came and helped the police find him and said that she hit him. Again, I'm a little bit more impaired. See, Primo, you know, shout out Primo. Make a joke. Fuck your feelings Friday. Right? But even with my faculties, I'm asking y'all, am I following? Right? And then shout out J-Fam. He says she's on them drogas. So she was lit. Blackout shit. Wow. Play yourself. If you black out doing anything, you shouldn't do that shit. Just leave it out of it. Alright? Shout out JP. Shout out for following through and not scamming when you could, since Oso ain't around. And I definitely didn't play the wheel. Oso is asando a pig somewhere. Alright? Also pulled off an upper echelon, but at least he played the wheel and we got fresh content. Salute JP. It worked out, huh?
And what tainted?
Y'all tell me if I'm wrong in what I just said. That's what I got from my broken, because I keep stopping and thinking about the point and I should be talking about it instead of...
and why so many people see the evidence and the prosecution's case as a whole as being somewhat tainted. The connections between pivotal figures in the case, it was dragged to the forefront by the defense recently when they asked the judge hearing the case to recuse herself, as they believed she had a close personal connection to someone involved in the case, something the judge flat out denied before dismissing the motion to have her removed from the case. Does kind of seem like everybody involved in this is in shenanigans with each other. They're all in cahoots.
Who? I didn't catch all the cahoots. The cops? I'm not sure. I'm kind of interested in the details. Me? Maybe I'm just not following this guy in particular.
Inside, prosecutor Adam Lally requested the defense team no longer speak to the media.
The hyperbole or the language that's been used on the steps of this courthouse in reference to the Commonwealth having its foot on the defendant's throat.
The defense lashing out at that.
How dare the prosecution try to prohibit defense counsel from doing our jobs? How dare they ask this court to take away our First Amendment right to free speech?
All this happened after defense attorneys had accused the judge of appearing biased against them, asking she remove herself from the case because of an internet post saying she allegedly knows potential prosecution witnesses, something she strongly denied.
I want to make it very clear that I reject the notion that untrue and unsubstantiated rumors spread on the internet can force a judge to recuse herself from a case.
And that is why some are saying this is a giant cover-up and Karen Reid is being framed for the murder of her boyfriend, Officer John O'Keefe. Because on the surface it's open and shut. She'd been drinking, she hit him, she made statements to back up that, end of story. But then you dig a little deeper under the surface and there's so much more going on here. Let's get into that.
Alright, shout out J-Fam. Also anda relax con una caguama. Alright, salutes. He'll be back talking his shit in a little while. So, but what happened? Did I miss the wheel again?
The defense hired specialist Richard Green, who found that in the hours before John O'Keefe's body was found, at 2:27 a.m., someone used a phone belonging to Jennifer McCabe, sister-in-law of the owner of the house, Brian Albert, to search on Google, how long to die in the cold.
Oh.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not a good look. And according to Karen's lawyers, of course...
Wait, how long?
To search on belonging to found at 2:27 a.m., someone used a phone belonging to Jennifer McCabe, sister-in-law of the owner of the house, Brian Albert, to search on Google, how long to die in the cold. Yikes. Yeah, that's not a good look. And according to Karen's lawyers, of course, has no innocent explanation. Unless people at the party in the house knew John was missing or injured. Because remember, Karen says she saw him walk into the house. So what could have happened in the house?
Alright, well, let's go with what I know from right there, right? Shout out Shannon, no spoiler, but there's talk of corrupt cops. Yeah, they mentioned that earlier, everybody, when I asked. Just solution, and they answered that. It was only a spoiler to Primo because he wasn't here for the last fucking live stream, but he want to talk about it. Shout out Primo. Just with that. Okay. Well, it still leaves the possibility open that she hit him and left him in the snow. They saw it happen. They police don't want to get involved. This is just me going from just that. We'll get to the rest later. I'm going to give benefit of the doubt all the way there. Okay? They didn't want no part of it. We're going to play like we was asleep. We didn't even know they were here. Somebody fucked around and text some shit like, oh my God, I can't watch this suffering anymore. Let me Google this. That's the out I'm giving right there. All right? Y'all follow what I'm doing here? Okay. Let me know. There's more to it, I'm sure. There always is. Sometimes there's not. Always is the wrong word. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there is a whole lot.
Where John O'Keefe would end. So So what, because remember, Karen says she saw him walk into the house. So what could have happened in the house where John O'Keefe would end up dead outside? Adding even more fuel to the cover-up fire is that the defense have a sworn affidavit from a forensic examiner stating that not only did the seriously suspicious Google search happen, but the same witness states that several phone calls between Jennifer McCabe's phone and a phone belonging to Brian Albert were deleted, along with a screenshot of Brian Albert's contact information. The defense seems to think that Jennifer McCabe, she played a pivotal role in the cover-up of whatever really happened. The defense is even accusing Jennifer McCabe of going into, when they were looking for John, when Karen Reid went back, that she was like delaying them from finding his body.
Sergeant Albert cut his teeth as a Marine in Operation Desert Storm. He views his work back in Boston as equally important.
Karen's attorneys claimed that Brian Albert is a highly trained boxer and fighter, and has deep familial and personal ties to the Canton PD and the Massachusetts State Police. So the defense is clearly trying to, look at the people who were in the house that night.
Karen Reid herself doubling down, of course, saying she did not do this. She wants to know who did.
Said it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Okay, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
They have said several times that police never considered anyone else a suspect,
I'm surprised that her lawyers let her talk so much.
Including Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe, despite them giving several incriminating statements. A witness in the area saw Karen and John in the car, but didn't hear any kind of crash, didn't hear a scream, didn't see any kind of damage to Karen's car as she drove off. And get this, John O'Keefe's Apple Health also recorded his movements that night. It showed him in the area of Brian Albert's home. It said he took multiple steps at elevation, the equivalent of climbing 3 flights of stairs. There were 3 flights of stairs in the Albert home. And if he had been hit by Karen's car before he made it into the house, then he wouldn't have taken as many steps as it showed he did. The deleted phone calls, the Google searches, by the way, that was found by the defense, not the prosecution. Even though the prosecution had Jennifer McCabe's phone for a year, they just never examined it. Why would they? Sure, this is an open and shut case. Karen Reid clearly hit into him with the car. Wink. One more thing that's been brought up in the public kind of discussion about this case is the serious lack of CCTV evidence.
Once you click this video, you'll be taken to uscca.com/maps. From here, you can click on any state.
Which is something we've gotten used to in these kinds of cases with the rise of Ring doorbell footage and all that. Namely, one thing CCTV footage would clear up is whether or not Karen's taillight was broken before or after she went to Brian Albert's house. If Karen's taillight could be proven to be broken at a time when she was not at the house, well then she clearly didn't hit him. I mean, that's one of the key pieces of evidence, is that her taillight is broken, so therefore she hit him. The defense are even claiming they've been denied footage from the library in town, which would give them an indication exactly of when her taillight was broken.
We're asking for evidence. Evidence that's material, evidence that's relevant, evidence that's salient to a third-party culpability defense.
Trooper Proctor may well be key to finding out exactly what did happen to John in the early hours of the 29th of January 2022. Another thing about the lack of CCTV footage is the house directly across from Brian Albert's. The Canton Deputy Police Chief lives there, and he has a Ring doorbell camera. He says it captured nothing, and the footage was never requested. So, Karen's own Ring doorbell, however, might provide an answer as to how the taillight came to be broken if it wasn't from hitting John. Footage from the doorbell outside the couple's home clearly shows Karen accidentally backing into John's car on the way out to search for him. It was only hours later, after Trooper Proctor had impounded Karen's car, that pieces of taillight were supposedly found at the scene. The pieces of taillight which were found at the scene weren't discovered during the initial search. It was only like a search hours later that they were discovered by...
Stop it. That's it. I just saw her break the taillight. That morning. I just saw her break the taillight.
Discovered by Trooper Proctor. And then there's the small matter of the disappearing dog. In particular, Brian...
What? There's a disappearing dog too?
Albert's German Shepherd, Chloe. At one hearing, Karen Reid's attorney showed the court images of marks on John O'Keefe's arm. The defense asserted that John was in a fight with someone in the house and claimed that these marks are evidence the victim was attacked by a dog during the fight.
Prosecutors say are from the accident, but the defense believes they're from a dog attack.
The Commonwealth has always maintained that it's road rash on his arm. No one has ever said that, but counsel for the defendant. As far as the injuries are concerned to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm and right forearm, they've always and consistently been described as abrasions caused by blunt force trauma.
They requested, DNA from the dog, but the dog has been rehomed out of state.
It's a dog. We have specific evidence. Talk about specificity. Specific evidence from one of the country's leading pathologists indicating that John O'Keefe's arm was mauled by a dog. Brian Albert's dog was a 90-pound German Shepherd. Oh, and by the way, Brian Albert made sure to get rid of that dog in the months following John O'Keefe's death, after that dog had literally been with the family for some 7 or 8 years.
They wanted more access to the house. Brian Albert sold the house. He sold the house for $50,000 less than asking, in the middle of a housing crisis, in Massachusetts. So not only was the house not really searched at the time, now it can't be searched.
Brian Albert is integrally involved in the death of John O'Keefe. He is implicated in the death of John O'Keefe. Jennifer McCabe is equally implicated in the death of John O'Keefe and the subsequent cover-up of that death.
So that is the two sides to the story. One, Karen Reid backed into John and killed him. Problems with that are she probably wouldn't have been going fast enough to kill him. Definitely wouldn't have been going fast enough to hit him so that he knocked into a snowbank. And it seems like her taillight would have already been broken, which is the key indication that she did hit him. Or the second side of the story is John did go into the house, Brian Albert's house, and maybe something happened in that house, which ended up with John O'Keefe's body being dumped outside. But the problem with that is if something did happen in the house, the idea was just to dump his body outside and get lucky with a cover-up. At her bail...
Yeah. It's the audacity. It's a delusional self-belief.
Hearing, Karen Reid's lawyers asked the judge to lower bail to $5,000, citing a whole heap of health issues they say Karen has been suffering from. The various ailments include a brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, and colitis, which is like, you got a fair play to you. The judge gave that an but Karen would be released anyway on the 2nd of February after posing $50,000 bail.
Wait, what?
Of health issues, get lucky. The idea was just to dump his body outside and get lucky with a cover-up. At her bail hearing, Karen Reid's lawyers asked the judge to lower bail to $5,000, citing a whole heap of health issues they say Karen has been suffering from. The various ailments include a brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, and colitis, which is like, you got a fair play to you. The judge gave that an but Karen would be released anyway on the 2nd of February after posing $50,000 bail. This case is whack. Like I said, on the surface, it's just a simple whatever, but then you dive underneath and it seems like everybody is in cahoots. The defense says Brian Albert is a cop, something happened inside that house, and he's getting all the other cops to cover up from as he has deep and familial ties with the state troopers and the local police department. But then on the other hand, John O'Keefe himself was a cop, so what could have happened that would, what could have happened? The prosecution says that Karen and John were fighting, that they were on the verge of breaking up. Karen would say no to that, and in CCTV they looked happy on the surface at least. Reed's own team have told the media that she has already spent thousands of dollars on her own defense, because it's a fight for her life. But spending tens of thousands on her defense and hiring experts from across the globe could easily be seen as a guilty woman throwing everything she can at the wall to see if something sticks. There's a lot in this one, folks. If you want to learn more, highly recommend you check out the links below. Definitely has a deep rabbit hole.
I'd have to hear the prosecution's case. You know, it's a compelling story that she didn't do none of that shit. I got a trial recap from a year ago. Right, I'd like to say I've been here an hour. Oso has not lived up to his end of the bargain. I'm going to continue with this next video. But I just like to state the facts and let that shit be known. All right, salute to everybody that is back in the building. I appreciate y'all. Moving a little slower, but moving nonetheless. Salute to the pool on the check-in. Appreciate you. I'm not convinced that she did anything. So that's the argument. The argument is she says, he went inside, I bounced. I came back at 6:30 looking for him. What was that about? They Googling how long it takes for somebody to freeze. Oso has officially shit the bed.
Yo vivo tranquila con la penetration en la casa. Cállate, hijueputa.
It's gonna be a MMA fighter with excuses. We ain't trying to hear that shit. He will put pictures of the food though. The food gonna be up in the Discord. All right. Shout out Shannon. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you too. All right. Shit the bed. He shit the bed. 2 weeks ago. Let's go with this one. A month ago.
Hey guys, I just found an amazing digital marketing expert on Fiverr.
The company. Karen Reed.
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I didn't start out the night at the right place. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
But what really happened that night? Was it a tragic, alcohol-fueled accident? A crime of jealous rage?
You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. She's sleeping next to me. You're a fucking loser.
Or does the truth lie buried deeper?
All right, let's get to the good shit. Huh? That last shit was vanilla, gorilla. Now I get to hear the real her. The her that doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. See, here's what they do. They do this shit. They talk that shit. I'm not saying man or woman. I'm saying significant other. They talk that shit. You talk that shit back. Ah! What? I can't believe it. It's like, what? All right.
Defendant kiss me. Was it a tragic, alcohol-fueled accident? A crime of jealous
Your boy need a sandwich at this point.
Rage?
You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. She's sleeping next to me. You're a fucking loser.
Or does the truth lie buried deeper?
The defendant kissed me.
Tangled within secrets, lies,
What phrase did you put in your phone?
Show me it.
Cost long to die in cold.
and a chilling code of silence among those sworn to protect.
Shout out Velvet. Shout out Velvet Vengeance. All right, they already got me. All right, they got $8.5K subs. Where is it? Copy link address. I'll drop that shit in here for y'all. Let's get it. Let's get to the smut. See, people could put on a pretty little story. It's convincing. But you need more information. Once you get more information, then, hey. I thought you would have had a snack before the second stream. No time, man. I was under pressure. Wasn't also rushing me. Didn't I make my... But see, I deliver. I'm the delivery man around this motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? Salute to you, Zola. I appreciate you. But I should have had a snack before the motherfucking... No, I was trying to get a thumbnail done. Shout out Pooh. He said, hey, yo, what? I said the wrong shit? What happened?
John O'Keefe was a beloved officer.
He rose through the ranks of the Boston Police Department and was admired for stepping up to raise his orphaned niece and nephew after tragedy struck his family. Karen Reed's journey.
Well, that's a good man right there, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Forget about the police shit, you know. That's a real Theo right there.
He rose through the ranks of the Boston Police Department and was admired for stepping up to raise his orphaned niece.
And it's not something to be admired about. It's just, you know, he can raise the nieces and nephews and still be a piece of shit. But, you know, if it's on the level where it's supposed to be, then salute to him.
Through the ranks of the Boston Police Department and was admired for stepping up to raise his orphaned niece and nephew after tragedy struck his family. Karen Reed's journey was quite different. Academic success led her from private Catholic school to Fidelity Investments, where she worked as a financial advisor. Those who knew her describe a resilient woman who overcame serious health hurdles, multiple surgeries for Crohn's disease, and a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. But she never lost her resolve. When the two reconnected years after a brief fling,
at least she used the truth to come at the judge and be like, Judge, let me the fuck. She used the truth. She really had those ailments.
Years prior, friends saw promise in their newfound romance. Yet as months passed, friction replaced romance.
Shout out Zoraida. True that, side to you. Salutes to you. Also needs to send an Uber Eats of what he's making. Man, he making some exotic shit over there, man. They don't even got that shit that motherfucker making over there. You gonna see it.
Arguments intensified, culminating in a disastrous
I don't know what the fuck he making over there.
holiday trip filled with accusation and romance. Yet as months passed, friction replaced romance. Arguments intensified, culminating in a disastrous holiday trip filled with accusations and bitterness. Prosecutors would later claim John planned to end the relationship, but the stage was set for tragedy. January 28, 2022 was a frigid winter night in Massachusetts, with a nor'easter snowstorm forecast to blanket the suburbs. Despite the weather, O'Keefe and Reed ventured out for an evening of drinking and socializing.
Very easy three-pointer for her to crack that light. Very easy.
They joined a group of friends for a casual bar hop, visiting at least 2 local pubs as the snow began to fall. One stop was the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton, a familiar neighborhood spot. Among the friends with them were Brian Albert, a veteran Boston police sergeant and close friend of O'Keefe, Brian's sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matthew. Witnesses later recalled no visible fights at the bar, but O'Keefe and Reed's relationship strain was no secret to those close to them.
I witnessed, one intense fight between the two of them.
And as far as a fight, as you're characterizing that, was that anything physical or just verbal?
No, it was a verbal argument.
Shortly after midnight, the group decided to head to another destination. The next stop was an after-party at the home of Brian Albert, where his teenage son's birthday had coincidentally brought other guests earlier in the evening. John and Karen climbed into her Lexus SUV for the short drive to the destination, following behind friends. They arrived at the destination, parked the car, but exactly what happened in the next few minutes remains hotly disputed. Karen would later tell friends she and John got into a heated argument in the SUV outside the house. It's unclear if John stepped out into the snowy driveway to cool off, or if Karen left in anger while he was still approaching the house.
There was no GPS points ever showing inside the home, the backyard of the home.
What happened during those crucial moments after John O'Keefe exited the vehicle?
Here's the problem. We just heard from somebody else that said they knew how many steps he elevated. So do we know how many steps he elevated, or there was no GPS hits in the house? Like, everybody could bring their own digital analyst to sit in there and tell a story. Shout out to the casting agent, because they cast a girl that looks just like her. It's very rare to play her in this shit. Just in this scene, I don't know if she's in the rest of it, but
what happened,
or maybe it's AI, who knows?
In the next few minutes remains hotly disputed. Karen would later tell friends she and John got into a heated argument in the SUV outside the house. It's unclear if John stepped out into the snowy driveway to cool off, or if Karen left in anger while he was still approaching the house.
There was no GPS points ever showing inside the home, the backyard of the home.
What happened during those crucial moments after John O'Keefe exited the vehicle would become the central question of the case. Prosecutors allege that in those fateful minutes, a drunk and furious Karen performed a hasty three-point turn in the dark driveway and struck John with her SUV while driving in reverse.
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Those are the words of the defendant. 4 times. We heard testimony from 4 different witnesses who overheard and observed those statements from the defendant on January 29th, 2022. So within minutes of that vehicle's data, going 24.2 miles an hour in reverse for 62.5 feet, the defendant leaves that voicemail, seething in rage as she's screaming, "John, I hate you."
Let me see that timeline. January 29, 12:30 a.m. Second trigger event. 8 minutes after three-point turn, vehicle in reverse at 24.5 miles an hour. 12:33. Karen calls John, unanswered. Karen's phone connects to Wi-Fi at One Meadows. 12:36. 12:37. Karen leaves voicemail for John. 12:42 a.m. Jen McCabe texts John, tries calling John and gets no answer. 12:42. Karen leaves. So Jen McCabe right there blows the idea, because isn't Jen McCabe supposedly in the house? Or am I wrong? She's not necessarily Brian Albert's wife, but there was more people there. And she's texting John and tries calling John, so evidently they're looking for him. Karen leaves voicemail with sound of footsteps. 12:42. 12:55. Karen texts John, "See you later." 12:59 a.m. Karen leaves John a voicemail. What's she say there? Leaves him another one at 1:02. And she texts John, "Your kids are fucking alone." Karen sounds like she's in the thralls of a normal argument situation. She seems like she's enthralled in her normal routine of "fuck you, you ain't shit, I hate you." She seems like she believes he's alive and well. I don't know what she's saying in the messages. Might not matter if she's just being argumentative and yelling. But she sounds like she's in the thralls of what she do. She don't sound like somebody that knows she put a dude down in the snow. Tell me if I'm crazy. Y'all hear the checks and balances, right? Now the Jen McCabe situation throws my thought away that they saw them beefing, they stood out of it, and now they're like, wait, this dude's gonna... She is the one that Googled, so evidently she was in the building. Text John, tries calling him. I think it seems like Karen's just in her normal thrall of bullshit. Also, we hungry. Don't forget about Thanos and your fellow L Avengers as you low-key pulled off an upper echelon, coño.
Mono con los ojos tapados.
He better not blame he was lit either. I don't
in reverse, 62.5 feet. The defendant leaves that voicemail, seething in rage as she's screaming, "John, I hate you."
The defense paints a very different picture of that window of time. They contend that John O'Keefe safely made it out of Karen's car without incident, and that whatever harm befell him happened after Karen had already left.
Ask yourself, why was Higgins so insistent that John go to 34 Fairview that night? We know that once John actually did walk in the door, it's about 2 steps, 4 feet or so, 2 steps for an adult male to reach that basement door. Remember, everybody was gathered in the kitchen. That's what Nicole Albert said. And every single witness agreed that at some point, Brian Higgins and Brian Albert left the group and went to another room. Where did they go?
As the snowstorm raged, John remained outside in below freezing temperatures. Back at her home, Karen woke up feeling unsettled. She had returned home alone in the middle of a snowstorm, intoxicated and upset, and now just realized John had never made it back to his home to care for his niece and nephew.
You're fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. Kim's sleeping next to me. You're fucking...
So this is her tripping. All right, now if she's lit and she runs him down and she just blacked out about it, that's one thing. This is a woman that don't know if she hit him. She don't know. She's still bitching and complaining. She don't know that she did something to him at this point. Whether she blacked out or it didn't happen. This is a woman that's just arguing. She think he smashing something else. She could have blacked out. It also could have not happened. You know what I mean? This fool said he waiting on the wheel. Papa, you were supposed to check in about an hour and 15 minutes ago, another hour and 30 minutes ago, another. You were supposed to be active in the chat. Tú lo cagaste.
Yo vivo tranquila con los pelos. Cállate, hijueputa.
So this right here is a chick that don't know she ran him down or didn't run him down. She dropped him off. He didn't come home. He's like, I know he over there tag teaming one of them cop wives. You know what I mean?
Loser. Fuck yourself.
Calls and texts to John went unanswered. Karen's tone was frantic. She told Jennifer that she and John had fought and that John wasn't home. In fact, she claimed she hadn't seen him since they left one of the bars hours earlier. This confused Jennifer because she distinctly remembered seeing John and Karen's SUV outside her brother-in-law's house after the bar, so she knew they had been at the house together. Immediately, worry set in that something was very wrong. Around 6 a.m., Karen, Jennifer, and a third friend, Carrie Roberts, set out through the snow to search for John O'Keefe. Jennifer drove, with Karen in the back seat crying and grasping at increasingly desperate theories. Could John have gone off with another woman? Might he be walking some—
Wait, who did she call?
Confused Jennifer because she distinctly remembered seeing John and Karen's SUV outside her brother-in-law's house after the bar, so she knew they had been at the house together. Immediately, worry set in that something was very wrong. Around 6 a.m., Karen, Jennifer, and a third friend, Carrie Roberts, set out through the snow to search for John O'Keefe. Jennifer drove, with Karen in the back seat crying and grasping at increasingly desperate theories. Could John have gone off with another woman? Might he be walking somewhere, injured? The roads were barely plowed, and a fresh coat of snow made visibility difficult as they approached the house. As Jennifer's SUV turned into the driveway, Karen suddenly screamed, "There he is!" In the yard, near a snowbank by the front lawn's flagpole, lay the prone figure of John O'Keefe, now covered in a layer of snow. Karen bolted from the car and ran to him.
Wait, there's nobody, so nobody knows, no police, no nothing.
She found John lying face up, unresponsive.
911, what's your emergency?
Need someone to come immediately to 34 Fairview Road, Canton, Mass.
What's going on?
There's a guy unresponsive in the snow. I just pulled up and found him.
She straddled his body, brushed off the snow, and tore open his jacket, even pulling up her own shirt in a frantic bid to share body heat and rouse him.
I know, I'm on the phone with the ambulance. I know, honey, I know. Look, Carrie, you gotta get off.
JP, that's like some extortion shit you're doing right there. You gotta relax.
Awesome, honey. Carrie, you gotta get off of him.
Is there any bleeding or anything? Maybe hit his head out?
Yes, possibly. There seems to be bleeding in the face.
Okay, bleeding from the face. All right.
One of the women is doing CPR.
One of the women's doing CPR. That's old girl.
Seems to be breathing.
Just give us a call back if he becomes responsive, right? But we're on the way.
Within minutes, sirens blared as police officers and EMTs rushed to the address in response to a 911 call. The first responders found Karen Reed crouched over John's snow-crusted body, distraught and babbling. Officers later recalled Karen being visibly upset and repeatedly crying out, "This is my fault. I did this."
Miss Reed was visibly upset. She kept saying, "This is all my fault. This is my fault. I did this."
paramedics loaded the 46-year-old John O'Keefe into an ambulance and rushed him through the storm to the hospital. Tragically, despite efforts to revive him, John was pronounced dead later that morning at the Good Samaritan Medical Center. At the hospital, and later at the police station, Karen tried to explain what she could. She recounted how...
What's the demeanor of the other cops that live in that building that didn't realize he was there? Did nobody ring their doorbell? Did those cops not come out into their front lawn where this guy was laying, where this lady was sitting on top of him, giving him CPR? What was the demeanor there? What was that about? We don't get none of that? Shut up, JP, man.
But I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
How she and John had argued that night, how she truly didn't remember the moment of dropping him off at Brian Albert's house, and how she woke up realizing he never came home. She admitted noticing her broken tail light and fearing the worst. In the state's eyes, this was no mere accident. They charged that Karen's actions exhibited a cruel disregard for life, essentially second-degree murder. By the time she was arraigned, Karen had effectively adopted an alternate narrative, one in which John O'Keefe's death was not at her hands at all. The dueling stories left investigators with a perplexing puzzle. Was John's demise a drunken hit and run by the person he loved most, or a calculated cover-up by the friends he trusted like family? On February 1st, 2022, just 2 days after the incident, Massachusetts State Police arrested Karen Reed on charges of manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide while driving intoxicated, and leaving the scene of a fatal collision. As Karen Reed awaited trial, investigators assembled the forensic pieces of the puzzle. The physical evidence from the house told a grim and somewhat puzzling story. In the front yard, police had noted shards of broken glass on the ground near where John's body was found. These turned out to be pieces of a cocktail glass, as if someone had dropped a drink in the snow. Nearby were small plastic shards with a distinctive red tint, fragments of a vehicle's tail light lens.
Jeff Williams, shut up, man. You don't know who she fooled. Shut your ass up, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't know who she fooled. You don't know if we fooled or not. We getting the information. She ain't fooled shit over here. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, shout out Shannon. You know Jeff Williams? Jeff Williams, she being nice and shit. You come in here talking about she fooled all of you. Man, we getting into the story. Fuck you know about who she fooled. Don't do drogas, kids. Bottom line. She fooled you. Shut your goofy ass up, man. You goofy motherfucker.
Sure enough, a matching piece was...
It's always a goofy like you that don't know shit. You just run up in here. Shut your goofy ass up. We'll put you in a fucking bench. You must be a cop. You a cop, huh? Or you one of them dick riders that just puts the checkered ribbon in the fucking mirror, or put your fraternal order of police sticker on the car and shit. You like a cousin or something, or you a cop for real? I'm goofy. Says the goofy that came into it. She fooled all of you. Fuck you know about who she fooled. We just got into the story. We ain't fooled about shit yet. She fooled your dumb ass. You're bad. Shut your goofy ass up, man. You sound like a dork. We're gonna get you the fuck out of here so that you can come back another time, talk your shit. But we've had enough of you already. You're a fucking goofball. So those questions you put in are why I believe with this recent verdict, why people have all these conspiracy theories of police not doing enough investigating. And they do shit like this. This guy's a nut hugger, boy. Jonathan, you have the green light, man. Give him 24 hours. Jeff Williams, man, go swallow something. All the evidence. Shut up. All right? Don't come and tell us we're fooled when we ain't even gone through the evidence yet, man. We getting you let us make our decisions, man. Don't come in here and tell us we're fooled. You could have came in here and had a conversation, but now you in the bathroom. Put him in a fucking bench, man. Now you in the bathroom sniffing shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good place to be, man. But goofies like you never learn. You guys come a dime a dozen. You're always up in here. You come in here. You see the title. You come in here. You fooled you. What if I was on the police's side? You don't know that. You a dork. Shout out J-Fan. Make him go swallow a ballpark 50. You know what I mean? After they cook it, motherfucker. Get the plump. Fucking dork. Shout out J-Fam. Let's get it.
Missing from the rear right tail light, all plastic shards, as if John's body was found. These turned out to be pieces of a cocktail glass, as if someone had dropped a drink in the snow. Nearby were small plastic shards with a distinctive red tint, fragments of a vehicle's tail light lens. Sure enough, a matching piece was missing from the rear right tail light of Karen's Lexus SUV, which had a conspicuous spiderweb crack on it. To investigators, this was a smoking gun. The broken tail light from Karen's vehicle appeared to link her car to the spot where John was found, corroborating the hit-and-run theory.
Emergency room physicians are always alerted to any hemorrhage and any bleeding around the eyes, because it could signify or it could mean that there's a much bigger injury inside the skull, and that is not just some bleeding around the eyes, that it actually is associated with a skull fracture. In my opinion, I believe the impact, the injury to the head came first. Mr. O'Keefe was most likely incapacitated or unable to move into a warmer environment, and then the hypothermia set in. I didn't see any major signs of what I would call a significant altercation.
Combined with the broken tail light and John's injuries, the state's forensic picture painted Karen's Lexus as the lethal weapon. But the defense's forensic experts would later challenge this interpretation vigorously.
If you're hit by a vehicle, or whichever part of your body is hit, if it's a significant impact at all, you're going to get bruising. And we don't have any bruising here. We just have what I would call linear abrasions without any bruising. So that does not look to me at all remotely like an impact from a motor vehicle.
There you go, man. You got conflicting fucking experts, right? Shout out JP. And choke on that hot dog water, man. And rub some of that shit in your fucking eyes, Jeff Williams. When you done drinking that hot dog water, just leave enough to rub some of that shit in your fucking eyes. Put some in your nostrils, fucking goofy. Don't do drogas, kids.
What would you expect to see if an individual's arm were struck by the rear of a motor vehicle?
Well, as I just said a second ago, primarily a lot of bruising. And that's what we don't see here. You might see, well, depending on the circumstances, you might see other things like a fracture or fractures, but you would at least expect bruising.
I believe that these injuries were sustained by an animal, possibly a large dog, because of the pattern of the injuries.
This startling theory posited that John might have been involved in a struggle with Brian Albert's German Shepherd, Chloe, at some point during the night. If the dog became aggressive, perhaps amid a drunken scuffle, it could have bitten and clawed at O'Keefe's arm. Meanwhile, investigators gathered what they could from digital forensics. They seized Karen Reed's iPhone upon her arrest and examined her communications. On that frigid night, Karen had indeed tried to contact John multiple times.
At 1:17:37 a.m., the defendant calls John. So when voicemail 6 is left.
She's either blacked out or it's a woman that want to get the man on the phone. She believes he's fine and dandy and she want to get his bitch ass on the phone so she could tell him what she think of him. This is not strange to me.
With voice.
Miss Gilman.
John, I'm going home. I cannot babysit Indy. I need to go home. You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. Kim's sleeping next to me.
She's jumping to mad conclusions. That's legit. She's there with the niece. She feel like she's getting suckered now. Damn, dog, you out there pulling off your shenanigans, and I'm sitting here watching the niece, waiting for you to come home. I done called you 1,000 times. You ain't answer the phone. That's real. She was either blacked out, or she don't know she did something, or she didn't do it. This normal right here.
To me, you're a fucking loser. Fuck yourself.
And she Bostonian? Stop.
At 1:18:38 a.m., the defendant calls John, not answered.
To the state, this message captured her fury and motive. She was livid and intoxicated, calling him in a rage, not realizing he lay dying in the snow. The defense downplayed the voicemail as an outburst from a hurt girlfriend who believed John had stormed off on her.
I agree with that.
Evidence of an argument, perhaps, but not of murder. One more digital breadcrumb would take center stage.
No, she didn't want to go to the soiree. He wanted to go. He went. She bounced. She mad. She thinking he gonna get home at a certain hour. He don't. Now she's feeling used in the morning. Like, bro, you spent the whole night with a motherfucking. I know you smashing one of them ladies over there. I know y'all doing some weird police shit. I can see that. That's not out of. Yeah, it's not out of my possibility.
A Google search for "how long to die in cold" that was found in Jennifer McCabe's phone data.
I'm just asking you to say it.
Why don't you show me it?
How long to die in cold. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's been everywhere.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Because you put it out in social media.
Now, you indicate that you did that. You made that search at 6:20.
That's a fat thumb motherfucker, boy. She can't spell for shit.
3 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And then you indicated that you did it again thereafter at 6:24, correct?
Correct.
You see this first search that says "how long to die in cold"?
I do.
What's that time?
You've got it's right over at 2:27.
AM or PM?
AM.
Ms. McCabe, you made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not. I did not make that search at that time, no.
When did you make that search? That's a weird answer. Who accepts an answer like that?
From the moment of Karen Reed's arrest, her defense team began probing an unsettling question. Could John O'Keefe have been killed, not by Karen's car, but by the very friends and fellow officers he was with that night? It was a theory.
Lord only knows how she feels this day hearing them voicemails and 2 trials of the rest of her life. Quit the bullshit, man. Quit the fucking drama, man. Motherfuckers better learn how to go on about their fucking business. Stop fucking tormenting each other.
That sounded outlandish at first, practically heresy to suggest that members of law enforcement would orchestrate a cover-up of one of their own's death. Yet as defense attorneys dug in, they would eventually argue that Karen was essentially framed as a convenient outsider, an easy scapegoat who could be blamed while shielding the true culprits.
Ask yourself, why was Higgins so insistent that John go to 34 Fairview that night? And then there's that sparring and fighting that he and Brian Albert were engaged in. We know that once John actually did walk in the door, it's about 2 steps, 4 feet or so, 2 steps for an adult male to reach that basement door. Remember, everybody was gathered in the kitchen. That's what Nicole Albert said. And every single witness agreed that at some point, Brian Higgins and Brian Albert left the group and went to another room. Where did they go? Where did they go together? Another important point. Chloe was not upstairs. Brian Albert slipped in one of his testimony that he provided. Quote, "I was watching Chloe downstairs, monitoring her because of the other people in the house. She's not good with strangers." What evidence do they actually have to prove that that SUV ever hit John? The answer is none. They don't have any. There's no evidence whatsoever that Karen Reed's vehicle ever struck John O'Keefe or that Karen Reed ever wanted to strike John O'Keefe.
And if she hit that car on the other car minutes before she went to get him, there's no reason that those shards don't end up over there when she ends up over there at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not understanding that part. You know, maybe Jeff Williams could have helped, but he's in the bathroom sniffing shit.
Put him in a fucking bedroom.
So how are those injuries properly explained? The evidence is simple. John got into an altercation. He was punched. He tried to defend himself by putting his hands up. He may have even scratched his own nose by putting his hands in front of his face to defend himself. His hands were bruised and covering up. He got hit, punch went through, and he fell to the ground, fracturing his skull. At some point during that altercation, the dog got a hold of him, and the dog was pulled away. Every single injury is answered. Every single injury. is explained by that.
Perhaps they carried John's unconscious body outside and laid him in the snow by the yard's flagpole, exposing him to the elements to ensure hypothermia would mask any inconsistencies in time of death. To bolster the frame-up, someone smashed Karen's taillight, either by backing her SUV into John's body or simply breaking it and scattering the pieces near John. The defense noted that no one reported seeing a cracked taillight on Karen's car before that night, implying it happened during or after the incident. They did not call 911 themselves. Instead, at dawn, knowing Karen would come looking, they allowed her and the others to discover.
I want to know what that lady's excuse was for looking that up at those times that night.
John in the snow, at which point the scene would naturally implicate her. Much of this theory rests on circumstantial pieces and inferences, but Karen's lawyers found concrete reasons to question the integrity of the investigation. The lead Massachusetts State Police investigator on the case, Trooper Michael Proctor, had personal ties to people involved in the incident. It emerged that Proctor was a longtime friend of the Alberts' extended family, a fact raising eyebrows about his objectivity. Many of the first officers on scene were police, who knew Brian Albert as a colleague. Yet none of them treated the Albert house as a potential crime scene involving anyone but Karen.
Did you look around the house for any sign of a struggle or a fight? No. Did you go to the basement at all? No. Did you personally observe whether or not that house has a bulkhead door that services the basement?
I have no idea.
Inside the house, did you photograph any part of the
No
house?
investigation? They didn't do no investigation? Come on, man. She fooled us? Mama bicho, no mami wait.
No mommy's wait.
No investigation, huh?
No. Additionally, not long after the incident, Brian Albert sold his Canton home on Fairview Road, the very property where John died. He also sent Chloe, the family dog, away to live elsewhere, and eventually the dog was reportedly put down.
Oh, man. What a coinky dink, huh?
To Karen's supporters, these moves looked like an attempt to destroy or remove evidence, the house where something might have happened, and the dog that might literally have John's blood on its teeth.
Congratulations, Michael Morrissey. You have handed over your office to the mob. Well done. Well done. The people that are supposed to protect us.
Most shocking, Massachusetts State Police Detective Michael Proctor, lead investigator and Albert family friend, was fired for misconduct during the investigation.
She's a whack job. See you.
Objection.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead, and that's why her taillight was cracked.
Wait, what?
During the investigation. Most shocking, Massachusetts State Police Detective Michael Proctor, lead investigator and Albert family friend, was fired for misconduct during the investigation.
She's a whack job. See you.
Objection.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead, and that's why her taillight was cracked. She's gross. The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
As an unbiased, objective investigator, the person that you were investigating, you referred to your bosses as correct?
Again, poor language on my part.
Poor language is one way to put it. Shame on you, sir.
Defense attorneys pressed witnesses hard. Jennifer McCabe struggled to explain the troubling Google search. Brian Albert bristled when confronted about suspicious actions. Yet no direct evidence proved a violent encounter inside Albert's house. Ultimately, the jury deadlocked, unable to decide Karen's guilt or innocence.
Ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. I'm not going to do that to you folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
The ongoing 2025 retrial is even more intense, driven by new revelations and relentless public debate. Karen's high-profile media appearances polarized opinions further. Canton's community fractured into opposing camps. Justice for John versus Free Karen Reed.
But it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do. And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. Yeah.
Testimony grew emotional and combative, scrutinizing every detail from tail light fragments to...
Yo, you seen her lawyer looked at her like if she said, you know I did it. She said, we know who did it. But he looked at her like she said, we know I did it. Watch. Watch his eyes dart over to her when that reporter asked her that question.
Just feels like no one else wants it.
Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Like, we don't know shit. We know she didn't do it.
We do. And no, she didn't do it.
Yeah, shout out Shannon. Wasn't it the chief of police lived across the street from the crime scene? His Ring camera footage was not available? Yeah, didn't catch nothing.
No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. Yeah.
Testimony grew emotional and combative, scrutinizing every detail from tail light fragments to suspicious phone searches. The defense, bolstered by audit findings and Proctor's firing, pushed harder, determined to clear Karen's name. As the retrial unfolded through April and into May 2025, much of the same evidence and testimony was presented, but there were notable differences and new tidbits. The prosecution leaned even more on physical evidence and less on witness narratives that the defense had poked holes in. Perhaps the most anticipated witness in the retrial was Colin Albert, now in his early 20s. The defense had signaled they would spotlight Colin as a possible assailant due to reports he had cuts on his knuckles some weeks after John's death.
You said you've never been in a fight before.
Nope.
Your entire life?
Other than with my brothers, no.
As of now, Karen Reed's retrial continues. The community remains divided, haunted by unanswered questions. Did Karen strike John accidentally? Why no clear memory? Was alcohol enough to erase such a horrific event? Why were John's injuries so inconsistent with typical vehicle impacts? Was the crime scene truly staged? Was John attacked by someone else at the Albert home? And if so, how could so many close friends keep such a dark secret? Did investigator misconduct derail justice? Or was it merely incompetence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The outcome of Karen Reed's retrial will shape more than just one woman's fate. It could redefine trust between a community and its protectors. Will the jury finally answer the haunting question of what truly happened to John O'Keefe? Or will Canton remain forever haunted by a body left in the snow, mysteries unsolved, and justice uncertain? Stay tuned and subscribe for the latest developments in this chilling case. Thank you for watching.
All right. Well, I already got what I feel is my answer. Maybe in the future we go through more detail of the trial itself. I see a whole lot more strange shit going on in that police house than I hear from old girl's story. I hear from her an unhinged lover going through a tirade. That's what I hear from her. Them getting rid of the dog, the house, everything. That shit's strange. But, maybe I was fooled.
No mommy's weak.
All right, man. Salutes. Hunters up to y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out today. All right. Let's let Oso hold this L. L's in the chat for Oso. Everybody, let's get some L's in the chat for Oso. L's in the chat for Oso. All right. Even though he's gonna have a W over weekend anyway, but just it's only like 3 of us left in here. So the 3 of us in here, L's in the chat For also, right? Let me see if I find my L's. I need an L right here. No L's, no L's. Gotta find an L. Right. That was in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Bow, 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 bow. That was in the chat. The dog, yeah, the injuries on his arms, the dog, the disappearing dog, it's just a lot right there already. What looks like common sense shit. You know what I mean? Salud Zoraida. Thanks for the great content today, Shai. Salud to you, Zoraida. I appreciate you. Alright. L's in the chat. L's in the chat. L, 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 L. Boom. L's for Oso. L is for Oso. That's how it's spelled nowadays. Like I want my hitting for Oso. Facts. I'm going to have one of my own. I'm going to have me a drink. As soon as I get off of here, I'm going to chill out. Take some time to decompress. Eat something. Yeah, get me some yummy foods. Shout out to Kino for checking in. We'll look at, hopefully somebody did some breakdowns of this trial. If not, we'll skim through the trial and see what we can hear. There's something fishy going on there. Yeah, no, I gotta. Oh, wait till you see the L's. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop them all in his name. Drop all the L's. Salute J fam, it was cool. Thank you for hanging out. Salute to Kino. Good to see you guys. All right, we did what we do. About 7 hours. All right, your boy pulled the shift. I'll see y'all on Friday. There's some editing to do. Shit to take care of, but the boy gonna get his decompress on. It's hot, getting this AC's popping. It's still hot in this motherfucker. Right. But yeah, I'm gonna drop mad L's in the Discord, so I'll see y'all over there, man. Salute to y'all. Have a great night. 7 hours, yeah, about 7 hours. I'll take it. I'll take it. Just as long as they gotta hold the L's, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the shitbirds in the bathroom.
Put him in the fucking bedroom, man. Get up the fuck out.
Whoever ended up in there. That's what I thought. Friday Night Live. Yep. Shout out J-Fam. Salutes. All right, man. With that said, I will holler. Peace.